I'm Dakota, and I'm doing Rakugo sit-down theater for my presentation. So, to begin, I chose Rakugo sit-down theater because it is similar to stand-up comedy in the US, and I wanted to find something similar to what I already know, but different in many aspects. I also researched this topic because I love to laugh, and it's comedy, so I love comedy. And for my presentation, I learned about Rakugo and how the solo performer, which is known as a Rakugoka, can change characters and differentiate the characters by using different gestures and using the fan. So for the tradition, what is the tradition? So Rakugo is a form of entertainment that is described as comedic storytelling, and there's one performer who sits alone on a stage on a pillow, and they wear a traditional Japanese kimono. Since Rakugo is from Japan, it's always performed in Japanese, and the performer performs a multi-character story differentiating them by various mannerisms and stereotypes to characterize. And the whole performance lasts for 30 minutes, and it ends with some type of plot twist or some falling action. The only props the Rakugoka can use are a hand towel, a paper fan, and some ways to use these props are using the paper fan as an ice cream or a whip, or in my moment, which I will show later, I use it as a painting. So some key terms for my presentation. Since Rakugo is from Japan, as I said previously, there's many terms where they normally wouldn't be in English. And so the Karakuchi is the original name for Rakugo. The Rakugoka is the performer, the solo performer. The koza is the stage that they perform on. So in this picture, it would be the red box. And the ochi and the sage are known as the falling action of the story. So at the end of the story, the plot twist. The sensu is the paper fan. The tenugui is the hand towel, and the makura is the pillow. So the history and the origin. Rakugo originates from Buddhist sermons, and they use the same story to perform and to use in their sermons. So Rakugo started with people in the street who entertained the people walking by and passing, and they performed at the parties to the wealthy. And it also gives an insight to Japanese language and culture. So the significance of Rakugo. Since it is similar to stand-up comedy from the US, the purpose is similar: to make people laugh and to make people happy. So they keep it short so people won't get bored of a long story with seemingly no ending. And Rakugo got more popularized during the Edo period in Japan, which was from the years 1603 to 1867, and it finally reaches all the classes ranging from low to high. So for my practicality and my convention, I studied the Rakugoka's use of gesture with the fan combined with vocal choices to differentiate between the different characters. So I chose this because it's an important aspect to Rakugo, as the solo performer needs to be able to use their gestures and their mannerisms to stereotype the different characters so the audience doesn't get confused, and as well as the audience, this type of acting also helps the audience to get more engaged, as they have to be aware of when each character is talking. So, how I practice. So, I organized my convention by performing in front of a mirror, having people watch me, and watching videos on online sources. And so one struggle that I had was which way to hold the fan properly so the audience could see what I wouldn't normally see, but also still have the fan be useful and not be too low or too high for what the prop is supposed to be used for. So next I will perform my moment. And so my moment is taken from an online source that specializes in Rakugokas and their physicality. And so the script that I will perform is about a female visiting an art museum and her interaction with a male coworker. So. Excuse me? This painting, it's one by Van Gogh, right? Ma'am, that's a painting by Renoir. Oh, right, I knew that. What about this painting right here? Is it, I think it's by Picasso, right? No, ma'am, that one's by Van Gogh. Oh, right. This painting though, this one right here, I can tell, like, immediately what it is. The weird eyes, the disproportionate nose, the big mouth. Ma'am, that's a mirror. So, as you can see from my moment, I chose to differentiate the characters by having the female voice be more of a high-pitched tone and the male worker be more of a monotone male voice. So going into what I learned, I learned from Rakugo that it is quite similar to stand-up comedy, as when in stand-up comedy there's only one performer as well. Sometimes there's more than one. However, in stand-up comedy, they aren't limited to props and they can use props. However, with Rakugo, they're only allowed to use the fan and the hand towel, and so it's harder for the Rakugoka to differentiate the characters because of the prop situation. So it also relates to restoration comedy, a unit I was learning earlier in this year. And so restoration comedy is from the 17th and 18th century, and it's physical comedy that exaggerates physical aspects of your body, such as one popular aspect is the breast and how the female characters are like exposed sexually, and restoration comedy also uses the fan. So restoration comedy makes fun of the upper class and how the upper class is very posh. So restoration comedy uses the fan to make mockery of them. Also in restoration comedy, since they are so distinct characters, it relates to Rakugo because how the Rakugoka has to make distinct characters for each of theirs. So how I learned as an actor from this is that it forces me to perform solo, because before this I wasn't really a solo performer, and I never really performed any solo pieces this year other than a monologue that we were assigned to do in class. However, this allowed me to become a new character and distinctly make someone up or a character up in my head, but then also translate it to an audience point of view and how an audience can perceive that character. And then it also allowed me to become more comfortable with performing, and because I had to use different voices, and since I was the only one performing, it was much harder on me to do that. And so yes, that is my presentation on Rakugo.